Alright guys, so these are the two pans just as a comparison. The pan on the right is the Performance VH rear sump pan. It's not completely completed at all, but on the factory pan, you see there's just a small area that kind of runs off in one direction. I can't necessarily recall what that specifically is for, but you do kind of have some areas to sort of channel the oil like down one side, which is at least in my opinion, that's kind of why it seems like people turn in a single direction on a lot of these ovals when drifting rather than on a course. They just tend to munch the bearings and such because all the oil gets slung to one side. Now there is this actual piece right here that's supposed to kind of keep most of the oil down in the pan. There are some drain holes right here. It's supposed to control the amount of oil that gets kicked up and such. It's not necessarily a poorly designed pan. It's just really meant for a luxury car, not necessarily a race car. Whereas this one has areas to trap oil as well as trap doors. So when you're going into a corner and the oil actually pushes in a direction, you'll have a volume of oil in each of these, but the oil can't actually necessarily push through. Instead, when you go the opposite direction, the oil will actually flow back into where your actual oil pickup is. Now this, once again, is very rough, needs to be finished. This has been sitting on my shelf for a long time, and eventually it will get re-welded back together into a full pan. But it's just sort of an example of, I believe this motor that was taken apart that I have just checked out, and we've seen the bearing is totally munched on that. I believe it was using the stock pan with a stock pickup tube and all that. So something to consider, that I have to consider when I'm putting this thing back together, is I need to check pretty much everything. Not just how the pistons are seating in the block, which I pretty much need to take them out in order to check everything. But even the oil pump itself, I need to just check and make sure that there's not been any metal pieces that have gotten sucked up into that, because those pretty much would have went all over the place in the engine itself. And I mean, this thing definitely had a pretty bad knock at one point or another. So I hope this is helpful for somebody. This is a very common issue. If you get a VH45 that somebody has used and they're like, oh yeah, you know, as far as I know, the engine ran fine. The guy that sold this to me is in no way responsible for this. He bought it from somebody else. I mean, I do have a good block over there, but obviously, as nice as that block is, you know, I can't really use all of this rotating assembly as of right now. And even though that block is a little bit nicer, it'll really depend upon a lot of things on whether I can swap this stuff into that one, or whether I can even use the majority of this. So, you know, just continue following along. I'm going to keep showing you guys the things that I learned, because this is the first time I've seen one in person that's been this bad. Usually it's just like a little bit of hue like that, you know, no big deal. But this is, it definitely tore itself up in there. And that's just caused by issues with oiling. Like, it just got way too hot at one point or another, and the bearing just totally ate itself. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys following along. When I started this channel, I always wanted to get to 50 subs. Now I have over 50 subs, which is awesome. And I really appreciate everyone that has liked and commented and subscribed. It's been a great ride so far, and it kind of makes me want to just keep working on this thing. it's been really, really fun, and I'm just gonna keep going on it. So thanks again, guys. Like or subscribe, and I'll just keep filling you guys' head with knowledge and having my own head filled with knowledge as I learn from you guys as well. So thanks again, guys. Bye.